My name's Justin McClure, and I'm here today with...
Matthew Kumar.
What? Matthew Kumar? Oh my god, this is not Important Cinema Club. It's...
The only reason that it's Matthew Kumar is because you wouldn't let me do a parody voice of Will Sloan.
Nope. I had to come in and I'm like, no, shut it down. We can't do this.
Listen, we were going to do an extremely straight, normal episode of Important Cinema Club where no one would ever know Will Sloan wasn't there.
You weren't going to break character or anything?
I was going to say anything. I was going to say the normal, boring stuff that Will Sloan says, that all your Important Cinema Club fans are here for. They're like, yes, some wonderful, boring stuff. But no, what I'm going to get instead is lots of loose cannon quality riffing, baby.
Oh no, riffing! Matthew's really the Poochie of the podcast. So if anyone has never listened to Loose Cannons, it's a show me and Matthew did many a years ago before Matthew abandoned me to move to Austin at the time, right?
Well, really, it was just that, like...
I need a job, please, Justin.
Yeah, and...
I was like, just hold on to Loose Cannons. We're going to go to the Stratosphere.
I'll freely admit that the one that went to the Stratosphere was Important Cinema Club. Because people like boring stuff with facts and things like that. They want to learn things and listen to podcasts when instead what they got with us was insane tangents about really mostly Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. We were big on the Bruce Willis train even before he was as popular as he is now.
And one of the things is... we
haven't even talked about what movie we're doing.
One of the things that Bruce Willis is that our dream of the Bruce Willis verse with movies with multiple Bruce Willises could easily come true now if we just sent him a contract asking to deep fake him multiple times in a movie. He'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just give me my money. What do you spend it on, Bruce? Nah, I'm just like a Scrooge McDuck-like character at this point. I just put it in a big vault.
What Bruce Willis is spending money on is a series of different machines to kill him in the most painful way possible.
Why?
Because he hates his life and just wants to die.
He has children, Matthew.
Like, do you know Jigsaw? All the Jigsaw machines are based on Bruce Willis's drawings.
Oh, is he like unbreakable though? Like he can't be hurt?
Yeah, Bruce Willis can't die.
That's why he looks the way that he does.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I made a movie. I funded Unbreakable in Glass just to see me die on screen.
There's two things that Bruce Willis can't do. Can't die, can't fall asleep. That's why he looks so sleepy all the time.
He can't fall asleep, or else Freddy Krueger's going to come for him. Is that what happens?
Yeah. He wants to be killed by Jigsaw in a Jigsaw machine, not by Freddy Krueger in his dreams.
Yeah. What do you think Bruce Willis has nightmares about?
Well, nothing, because he can't sleep.
But before, like if he could fall asleep.
I mean, obviously, his true nightmare, like the story of any vampires, is to live forever, right? Like that's...
Okay, so he's living his nightmare right now.
He's living his nightmare right now.
I don't even think we said that Loose Cannon is the show where we go chronologically through the filmography of Cannon films.
I already told you, the whole thing with Loose Cannons was...
It's just riffing.
It's just riffing
That's
and
right.
tangents. We don't even get to the point where we explain what the show is usually.
I like the fact that when we did the show, we did 80-ish episodes, and we just got to the films, and people are like, can't wait for you to talk about these Cannon films like Life Force and Death Wish 3, and we're like, all right, no more of this. We put it away.
And that's why on the special guest episode, we're just going to talk about more Joe Sarno movies.
The Wicked Die Slow, the
is,
porno western that we watch.
The thing is, though, that Important Cinema Club fans, that's what they want to hear. Surely they want us to go deep on Joe Sarno.
Joe
let's
Sarno.
Stop recording and watch 3 Joe Sarno movies in a row.
No! I mean, if people looked at the name of this episode, they can see we're actually going to talk about Death Wish 3, because that's the movie that me and Matthew just watched, which I was surprised you said that you had never seen Death Wish 3.
Well, I think that, I've seen bits of Death Wish 3, but... when we started doing the Loose Cannon podcast, it was sacred to me that we do those movies in order.
Yes.
So I never watched any of order apart from those Christmas episodes. Some of our best episodes, actually.
Yes, that's true.
And so we watched Death Wish 1. We watched Death Wish 2. And then we just never got to Death Wish 3. So
no, the good one people like. Not the super rough one like Death Wish 2.
Well, it would be an exaggeration to say the good one. But the one people like.
Yeah, the enjoyable one, I think is the way that you could describe it. Did we ever do Over the Top?
No, we never got there.
Oh, that's a great movie,
that's
too.
one of the last ones.
Oh, really? So, all right, so another 10 years from now, we'll probably get to Over the Top.
The whole thing, I think, came from, for people who want some background, is that one Christmas we watched Over the Top, I think. And I was like, wow, that's so fun. And I looked at all the other canon films and I was like, oh, there's a lot of fun selling ninja films, everything else. We should watch these in order. And I've been looking to do something like a podcast, because that's like back in like, I don't know, 20 whatever, when doing podcasts wasn't the situation where it was like you walked out your door and people were podcasting, you know? And it was almost a thing that was like only some people were doing. And instead I mired us in watching like terrible movies no one cares about forever.
I remember when you were like, let's do a podcast. I'm not joking. And everyone in the room kind of like lost eye contact with you. And our eyes locked. I'm like, I guess I'll do it with you, Matthew. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Well, you know, I love coming up with ideas that never go anywhere.
That's right. And so Death Wish 3, directed by Michael Winner, released in 1985 and starring our man, Charlie Bronson. You a Charles Bronson fan?
What else has Charles Bronson been in other Death Wish movies? Like, what are the big Charles Bronson movies that...
Once Upon a Time in the West, a Sergio Leone movie. He stars in that picture. He was also in A Dirty Dozen. He's in The Great Escape. He's in The Magnificent Seven. So he's been in a lot of like great movies.
In The Great Escape.
Yeah, he's the Tunnel King in that movie.
Oh, yeah. It's just one of the things is that, like, the interesting thing about Charles Bronson is that he always looked like he was in his 70s. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, we look back in time about like how young people didn't really look that young, but Charles Bronson somehow didn't even manage to look like middle-aged at any point. Like, and in this movie, to skip ahead somewhat, this movie features the least believable, like, romantic subplot I've ever seen in any movie.
Oh my God.
Because it features a normal woman who, like, even at a stretch, you could be like, she could maybe be in her 40s. Like, she looks like she's kissing the Crypt Keeper.
Like, all the kisses they do are, like, close-ups, as if they had to get, like, a stunt woman to come in and kiss Charlie Bronson. What do you think that feels like? Like, kissing that, like, little mustache and his mouth? Dry? Bad breath?
You know, I assume that, you know, to practice for the role, she snipped off a bunch of pubes.
Put them to a cactus that she had.
Put him a cactus and then started Frenching that cactus, because that's probably what it felt like. Oh, and you put like a terrible beetle wig on the cactus?
That is Charlie Bronson's real hair. How dare you?
You think it's his real hair?
No, I don't think so.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you look at him and it's like, if that's his actual hair, like, it's a bit like he walked into, you know, the barber and was like, you know what, just fuck me up.
He's just like, I'm old, I'm gonna pass out in this chair. You do whatever you want to me. And like a vampire, I've broken every mirror in my house. So I won't even see what it looks like. So let's start the movie. Charlie Bronson, I don't even remember how Death Wish 2 ended. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
I mean, like, basically, probably like all the movies, it's like he managed to kill all the baddies and he walked off into the sunset, right? Mm-hmm. To catch a bus, like an old person.
Hey, we can't even catch buses in Toronto/Canada anymore because Greyhound shut down.
Is there not like still Megabus or something?
Yeah, there's still Megabus, but Greyhound was the main one and now it's gone because it was during COVID, right, that it shut down? Because they're like, listen, we can't keep paying the bills.
I remember taking the bus to New York once.
Yeah. Miserable. You know what? I was always an easy bus driver. Fell asleep, didn't bother me at all. Never complained. I didn't mind taking the bus. Everyone I know is like, I hate it. I'm like, you pampered, monocle-wearing rich people.
Well, that was the problem, actually, with riding the bus, was my monocle kept falling out. Because they just shake so much. When you hit a bump, your monocle falls out, you know, and...
I mean, you never started a song, like in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or anything like that?
No, I mean, like, there was the moment when you remember when we fell out and you were on the bus and I ran on the bus and I was like, you know, I'm sorry, we're going to Florida.
And I looked at you and you're like the devil. You're like, ah! Classic bus riding traits. So Paul Kersey gets to New York, and me and Matthew for the first 15 minutes of this movie was like, was he in New York in the previous films? Is he coming back? What's going on? Where am I?
He's in LA for at least one of them.
Yeah, sure. We will not look it up on our phone as we do this.
The thing that you said, though, was that you said that you believe that this was mostly shot in London.
Yes, like a backlot. Even though that I look online and they're like, we shot in the worst parts. But I remember someone telling me that trivia, which sounds like a very Michael Winner thing to do.
And the thing was, as soon as you said that, I start to scan the screen constantly for a British-style plug. I don't know why they'd have left a British-style plug on
because, you know, Michael Winner just doesn't care. That's why. Yeah. Michael Winner, for people that don't know, we have not done an episode on him in the Important Cinema Club, even though I keep threatening Will to do it, which then he moans very loudly in pain. Oh, whoa, Will Sloan's in the room right now. Whoa. And Michael Winner also edited this film under the title Arnold Crust. That was his pseudonym on it. But yeah, he is an asshole as a director.
And as
famously.
a person.
Yeah. I think we shared some other anecdotes last time, but he treated his cast and crew like garbage, and he ended his life writing very sarcastic restaurant reviews.
Yeah, and being in adverts for an insurance company.
Yeah, where you go, calm down, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then he died.
and then he died.
Choking on his sins, I'm sure. He directs this film with aplomb, and by that I mean there are a lot of low angles and a lot of shots of people looking up into windows at people looking down on them. Love it every time that happens.
Yeah, and like he shoots people through the crook of other people's arms.
Yeah, that's right.
And all sorts of stuff. And a lot of like weird close-ups on Charles Bronson's face, just in case at any point you thought he might have been a young man. You see every crag and line, every part of his past on
There's
his
some
face.
shots of Charles Bronson like listening to a conversation. He just has like a 1,000-yard stare. The camera's so close it cuts off his chin and the top of his forehead. He's like, huh? What? Please, don't make me make these movies anymore.
Yeah, he's got that sort of like, you know, when you're talking to your grandpa and your grandpa's just like falling
Yeah, like
asleep.
this fucking piece of shit grandson. I hate him. Why is he talking to me? In this film, Charles Bronson's come to New York to fight in a new war. The war of punks on the streets of New York?
Well, not punks in the streets of New York. Let's be clear. Punks in a single square.
Yes.
Like,
a very small
There's
square.
almost like no like off streets or anything. They mostly run this one tiny area with a couple of buildings around it.
I am correct. It says here, London, England, UK, doubled for New York. Brixton, Lambeth, London, England, UK, gang war neighborhood. So I was correct. They are not in New York.
Well, there we go.
They fooled you, right?
They filmed me. I couldn't see a plug anywhere. No one was drinking tea.
Yeah,
you know.
when you see that plug on the wall, you jump right to the goof section of IMDb and you fill that out.
Yeah, there's a British plug.
Do you think there's guys out there, and we know it's guys, that are like, I cannot go to sleep until I find one goof in a movie?
It's terrible because every night they watch a Goofy movie and yet they still can't find a single goof in that movie. I will find a goof in this movie. It says a very goofy movie.
I was listening to a podcast recently and the host said that he and his mom had an argument that Goofy was not a dog. He was a goof, just like, because, it's like, you're a goof. And that it was like a racial thing, like a different species, because she couldn't kind of put in her head that Pluto is the dog and Goofy wears clothes. You know, the classic.
Yeah, the classic thing.
Moral, like the Plato's cave of our generation.
And as we all know, Pluto is a pervert. A massive, disgusting pervert.
I feel like we've said this on the podcast before. So, Paul Kersey, a.k.a. Charles Bronson, goes to visit his pal, who, what a coinky dink, he dies right as Charles Bronson arrives.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, as he's getting off the plane, his friend is being murdered by...
punks.
Not just any punks.
Oh, Alex Winter? Bill himself?
Bill himself from Bill and Ted, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's...
Is this one of his time-traveling doubles, like the evil version, like we saw in the new movie?
Yeah, probably is.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I mean, that's sort of makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. And then he would later become a vampire in The Lost Boys. It all lines up.
It all lines up.
Do you think that when Alex Winter goes to conventions, he has like a table and there's like photos of him in Death Wish 3, Lost Boys, Freaked, of course, and Bill and Ted?
Everything except Bill and Ted.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's like, don't talk to me about Bill and Ted.
Don't tell me about Bill and Ted. I've talked about that too much. I don't want to...
Do you have any Death Wish 3 related questions?
He directed a lot of stuff, right? He directed like a Ben 10 movie and stuff like that as well, I think.
So he had just like Ben 10 photos.
Just Ben 10 stuff.
And it's not even him because he doesn't act in them.
Yeah, he only has Ben 10 stuff. I'm only going to be here talking about Ben 10.
Charlie Bronson shows up. His friend is dead. He's like, no!
So what then happens is the cops show up and they arrest Charles Bronson for his friend's murder.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly Charles Bronson becomes very worried about people's constitutional rights, which later on he loses interest in. But when there is rights, he cares about them.
I mean, yeah, you got him, Matthew. You caught that hypocrite in his game, and now he's finally going to learn his lesson.
Take that, Charles Bronson.
Yeah. What is the meme? It's like, mission accomplished. We got him. The cop that arrests him, Ed Lautner, realizes who he is. He's like, oh, you're the vigilante. Very angry at him for a moment.
He's like, you're the vigilante, dude. What are you thinking about stuff, dude? He keeps saying dude for some reason. And I like to imagine that, Ed Lautner showed up and he was like, pulled a Nick Cage piece. It was like, my character's always going to say dude at the end of every sentence.
Oh, do you think he had like a funny hat on? Like a big stovepipe hat? He's like, I think my character would wear this. And he would say dude. And my Gwynn is like, listen, you can say dude. That's it. You get one.
And then he's like, psych, I got you. That's the thing that I wanted. The hat was to fool you, and they let me say dude the whole time.
And, when he says it, that's the biggest audience laugh moment, right? Everyone's like, yay!
I mean, that's what we come for.
Mm-hmm. And we come for Charlie Bronson just gunning dudes down. Because let's just jump right into it. Charlie Bronson moves into his dead friend's house, who he shows no remorse for, is never sad about his friend dying.
Well, actually, we have to... I don't want to skip too far ahead because there's some cool violence before that part where he gets chucked into jail for a while, unconstitutionally, as he points out, and to show that he's the big dog, he grabs a local fat man and shoves his head through the bars so hard that the man's ears rip off.
I think I may have been getting water when that happened. I missed it. I'm going to have to go back and find it.
Oh, yeah. We'll just watch Death Wish 3 again after this.
Yep. Round 2. So, yeah, Charlie Bronson, a very old man, is an action star, of course.
Yeah, and one of the things that I also like about Charles Bronson is how much, old man energy he gives to his role. When he moves into that new apartment, he goes downstairs to meet his friend who looks exactly like...
Ernest Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine is not Ernest Borgnine.
No, it's Martin Balsam, who was a very famous Hollywood actor himself. He is the detective in Psycho, the one that gets murdered and falls down the stairs. He's one of the jurors in 12 Angry Men. He's in All the President's Men. So only men-based roles.
Charles Bronson comes down, she's like, I smell something delicious cooking. And he's like, oh, that happens to one of the neighbors. I was like, could you think we get some of that food? Liver and onions. This is now the most annoying podcast ever because you're making mouth noises as well.
Or it's the best. It depends on who the listener is.
Oh, we better get some ASMR
into
this podcast as well.
I suppose, they came here for ASMR, the podcast that could not be more screamy when it comes to podcasts. Yeah, Martin Balsam, a.k.a. Ernie Borgnine. Let's just call him Ernie Borgnine for now. Because he looks like, it's like, I guess, the budget version, where I guess Ernie Borgnine
Ernie Borg 10.
Yeah, just like Ben 10, Alex. So Ernie Borg 10, who, I think that Ernie Borgnine, though, is probably busy doing what he's most famous for.
Wanking.
Yes. If people have not seen the clip of someone asking Ernie Borgnine on I think it's just like a daytime talk show, and they ask him, how do you stay so energetic? And Ernie leans in and goes, I masturbate every day.
The best thing about that is he whispers it to the guy under the idea that that's not going to broadcast to the audience.
It's loud and clear. You see the guy in the booth is like, lean in, turn it up.
I mean, look, I love that. I think it's important to, be proud of your hobbies. And, look, he lived for a long time. Right?
Yes, he did. I saw him at a fan expo, and he was, so full of piss and vinegar, so happy to be there.
I mean, really, when we think about it, companies like OnlyFans stopping nudity, that's going to lead to many early deaths.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think Ernie is on OnlyFans? Would he be on there now if it existed?
He would 100% be on there now.
Have an account himself, not like a user.
Oh, yeah, because, a lot of celebrities sign up for Cameo, obviously. Borgnine, straight to OnlyFans.
He knows where the real money's in.
He knows where the real money is. I mean, he would be so annoyed about the removal of nudity and all the other requirements.
I know, he loved that stuff. And he definitely at Fan Expo had a wife that was 10 times younger than him. Because, listen, he's Ernie Borgnine. But no, we're not talking about him, we're talking about Ernie Borg 10 here. And so Ernie Borg 10, I can't say it every time. It's going to be too hard.
Yeah, Ernie Borg 10 sounds like one of the baddies from Star Trek, right?
Yeah,
or actually no, Borg. One of the baddies who'd become a goodie and be on the ship with them or something,
Yeah, Star Trek, the original Fast and Furious, if you will. So he's like, yeah, it's been tough here. I don't want to move away because I can't. Where would I go? I have literally 100 weapons in my apartment. I cannot move them. I have, as we learn later, a closet or just a dresser dedicated to a machine gun. There's nothing else in there.
Yeah, so one of the things that is boring about this movie, because it has to set up to get ready to the killing, is that...
so many innocent people die.
But there's so much time set up on showing you guns and preparing guns. There's an entire scene where Charles Bronson shows a particular, gun to a crowd of old people and then spends time making the bullets. It's imagine having to watch a man make the bullets he's going to kill people with. I don't need to see that.
Yeah, but that happens all the time, right? That somebody has a new gun. Because at one point, Charlie Bronson's like, look, you can even select, I don't remember what it is, he's turning this little knob based on the bullets that you put in. It's like, who cares? You're killing human beings.
It's like the gun from Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
He's like, I can set the Heat Seeker or Ricochet.
Oh, if Charlie Bronson had played Judge Dredd. I mean, we all know Judge Dredd is based off Clint Eastwood anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would have watched that.
Judge Dredd was like a little mustache.
It's kind of a shame there was never a really, like, crappy, nasty 80s, like, Judge Dredd movie. You know,
like directed by Michael Winder.
Yeah, like The Punisher or something like that, where it's just, like, miserable and grim.
Oh,
like,
no, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher is great. How dare you?
Well, you know what I mean? Like, that sort of, like, video nasty air.
A video nasty Judge Dredd.
Well, no, video nasty by British standards, where it was, like, basically, like, if you showed, like, somebody getting stabbed, it would class as video nasty.
Oh, no. You know what is a thing that will automatically get banned? Judge Dredd comes out with, like, nunchucks.
Yeah. Well, Judge Dredd's favorite nunchucks. I could set the nunchucks to Ricochet. I could set it to Heat Seeker.
What happens? It's just a series of events where, like, Charlie Bronson watches a bunch of people essentially get assaulted. Sometimes he helps, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he just looks out the window.
Well, he does. His coming out festival is he buys an expensive car, and then while he's eating a dinner someone else made for him, he walks outside.
Liver and onions.
And they're stealing his car. They're like, "You're gonna die, Charles Bronson," and he just immediately shoots them.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, "Oh, it's all on now. He's gonna start killing dudes left, right, and center." No, he just hangs about for a while, and
he sets a few traps.
He sets some traps, which are like classic Home Alone style, like things spring up and hit you in the face.
Oh, this handle's too hot.
Like, the movie is like so much about like Charles Bronson, an elderly man protecting a small community of elderly people, that if the movie just turned into like a siege movie with a bunch of old people like fighting off the guys, like, and setting up old people traps and stuff, and then like they're like
old people traps, so it's like, you know, expired cans of soda.
"Oh, you old biddy, I'm gonna take your Werther's Originals, now I'm gonna eat them," and there's, "Oh, I'm choking on a Werther's Original."
It's not Werther's Original, it's those like shitty like gum candy. So you're like, why do they buy this? This is bad.
Yeah.
Oh, what, you like all candies? You like those ones?
No, I just, I like to think that I've dealt with a higher class of old person.
Yeah, the monocle wearing class. That's what you believe in, and
exactly.
that alone.
Papa, where is my monocle in my Werther's Original?
Yeah, Charlie Bronson, he helps the person who feeds him. He puts a little trap, like you said, that just pops up and smacks someone and knocks their teeth out. Never comes up again, though.
We never see anyone with, like, missing teeth being like, "Oh, I have to get dental work now."
Okay.
Or like,
why do they sound like moose all of a sudden? Oh yeah, we're not allowed any duh idiots anymore. That is very offensive to be like, "Duh, I'm gonna get you, Archie. Midge, my girlfriend." Wait, did Midge ever date Moose?
Honestly, Archie was not really a thing in the UK, so I don't know that much about it.
Oh, so it was more like, wait, what's the one, Al Cap and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That was your Archie?
Technically, it's like how we have Dennis the Menace in the UK is a completely different Dennis the Menace.
Wait, is he?
Yeah, he's got like black hair and a red and black jumper and a dog called Nasher. But the craziest thing about that is that both those Dennis the Menaces appeared at the same week, but it was like in the 50s, right? So like there was no way for those people to know about the other Dennis the Menace.
Wait, so they're not even related?
They're not related at all.
Oh, so it's not like a, Crisis of Infinite Earths type situation here?
Well, it could be.
Yeah, where all the Dennis the Menace... If only they could put all of these characters, licensed, IP characters, if you will, in some kind of jam. Yeah. Perhaps set in space.
That jam isn't even set in space.
No, cyberspace.
Cyberspace, I guess. I mean, boo.
So who would you have? You would have the Dennis the Menaces. What are some other, like, British characters? Judge Dredd would definitely be there. Rogue Trooper.
Yeah, Strontium Dog.
Yeah, that's right.
All the weird ones.
Wait, what's the one that, like, rides a surfboard on?
Chopper? That's one of the best ones. Song of the Surfer.
Yeah.
Such a good comic.
And the woman for Letter from a Democrat is definitely there. I'm getting into the real 2000 AD.
There must have been some other, like, I mean, I guess all from all those British comics, like Bunty and Buster, Billy Wez, what's other characters? I don't know.
This only sounds like a parody comic.
And then there's all the ones from Viz, right? Buster Gonad and
What?
Viz is an adult comic.
Okay.
Not like pornographic, but like, the Fat Slags.
Oh my god.
What's the other one? Biffa Bacon. And my favorite one, The Drunken Bakers. The Drunken Bakers is the best Viz strip. Anyone listening to this, just Google Drunken Bakers and read a bunch of Drunken Bakers.
What about
strips.
here? We got Desperate Dan.
Desperate Dan, classic.
Banana Man,
of course.
Rupert Bear. He's definitely doing some dunks.
Oh, yeah.
But they're playing football in this. And American football for some reason. Beryl the Peril, Corky the Cat.
The Peril, yeah, Corky the Cat, man.
Who's Biffo the Bear? He looks horrifying.
Yeah, Biffo the Bear does look horrifying.
And Mickey the Monkey. And, of course, Buster Cap. Wait, is that the
Andy
child
Cap's
of
son.
Andy Cap. Oh, I was calling him Al Cap. Yeah, if people don't know who Andy Cap is, he's basically a character who was famous for beating his wife.
Anyway, as the many important Cinema Club listeners have already turned off, let's continue to entertain
This is
ourselves.
for only the loose cannons diehards. There's a character named Lord Snotty. Who's that?
Snooty, I think.
Snooty, okay.
Is
Is that who you like? Your hero that you look up?
Yeah, all the Werther's originals you can eat. I'll tell you about a character that we enjoyed very much in this movie, the Giggler.
Oh, the Giggler. Now, this is a character, he gets his own introduction, where Ernie Borgtan is like, hey, see that guy? He's the Giggler. Why do you call him that? He giggles when he steals. No one can catch him.
And he runs very fast while laughing the whole time, which is quite impressive, let's be honest.
I mean, have you ever tried to run fast and laugh? Hard. Right in the abs, it hits you.
Yeah,
Can't do
exactly. Like, he's got great cardio, basically. He loves stealing stuff, but, really what he wants to do is take photographs.
Okay, so for people who have not seen the Funny or Die skit, it's called The Lonely Deaths of the Giggler. And what they do is, this is pre-fame Eric Andre, where the joke is they like redub some of the movie and make it seem like the Giggler, all he wants to do is take photographs. Because what happens? What is the Lonely Deaths of the Giggler?
Well, basically what happens is that, as we pointed out, that Charles Bronson mostly pisses about letting bad stuff happen.
I genuinely asked, like, what is Charles Bronson doing during the day? Like,
Yeah.
he just wears like a turtleneck with
While
like...
he's walking about, like, just hanging out, there's like a sexual assault of one of his friends, there's a murder of an old lady, like,
Yep.
all the time he's just biding my time.
He even says, like, give me one more day.
Yeah, and that's when the old lady dies. And it's like,
no, his friend gets put in the hospital. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens, yeah. So the Giggler, he's like, I'm going to get the Giggler. That's one of the first things I'm going to do. So I'm going to walk outside swinging an expensive camera around.
A Nikon.
I'm going to buy an ice cream lolly and get one for a wee boy because I'm also a good guy. And as he walks out, his Nikon gets stolen and he just brings out his big fucking mad elephant gun and shoots the Giggler in the back.
And so in the internet video, Eric Andre playing the Giggler, we learn that he's a photographer and all he wants is a camera to move up in the world.
And the funniest thing is he's running away. He's like, as soon as I get this first photograph done, I'm going to pay him back for my camera.
I think he says it as he's running. He's like, I'll pay you back, Paul Kersey. And then Charlie Bronson shoots him in the back. The Giggler lands on the ground, and with the last of his strengths, he takes a photo
of a beautiful
flower.
But the funny thing is, in the actual movie, he kills a man in cold blood.
Oh my god, the crowd love it.
People are hanging at their window being like, yeah, bro, you start killing dudes. But what happens? He continues to not kill dudes for a while.
Oh my god, like if you're killing this many people this easily, just do it.
Instead, what he does, rather than continue to kill dudes, he gets involved in, as we previously mentioned, the very unbelievable
Robin the Cradle
romance.
Woody Allen it.
Yeah, Woody Allen in it.
Well, yeah, he's not technically not like a daughter in any way, so, but maybe that was a deleted scene. So yeah, I think that we have one date where what made us laugh is that she's like, I cooked you a fresh pot of chili. Sheldon says first date, like some delicious chili. Even later on in the movie, you see Charlie Bronson just making himself a big can of beans.
To be clear, we did mishear that. She said chicken.
Oh, she did say chicken?
But it was funny, the idea of someone making a big pot of chili in the first date as the meal for the first date. You don't understand. I have a very specific and strange fetish.
I mean, it's not that specific or strange. It's farting. Like, I'm sure if you look on the internet.
Charles Bronson farting.
No, Charles Bronson. So, like, it must hurt him, though, right? He's an older man.
To fart?
Yes.
Is that what's in our future?
Yes. I hate to break it to you,
starts to hurt to fart?
mean, you're much older than I am, so.
That's a lie.
You've missed this, haven't you? Matthew's like about 22 years older than me.
Thing is, Justin, is I can't die. I've got the same problem Bruce Willis.
Disease.
I have Bruce Willis disease.
But the thing is, that's why, he has no more hair, is that, like, that process has stopped working for him.
Whereas I have so much hair right now.
Oh, wait, but why does he want to keep living through, computer-generated images if he can't die himself? Does he think maybe he's trying to figure out ways that, I'm going to trick the system that, like, they think I'm still alive because I'm in all these movies, which will allow me finally to leave this mortal coil?
Sure.
Yes. All right, I cracked it.
Basically, the movie, for some reason, is like, you know what? He doesn't have enough reason to kill these guys, even though the whole movie up to this point has been these guys doing bad stuff in front of his eyes. So they're like, he needs another woman to die.
Well, does she die? Because Charlie Bronson, they go out for more food after their second date, after, they make some loving, and
which thankfully we do not see.
it just fades to black.
But we do
just
see
like Charlie Bronson experienced while he was
his shirt back on.
Yeah, just ripped abs. That's why he wants to show them off, right?
Well,
oh, you must have been watching a different version than me, because I had like the Tom Cruise version when they went and added abs to Charlie Bronson. So they decide to go for supper, and Charlie Bronson's like, "Oh, wait 1 second, I need to pick up some mail," as you do late at night.
Yeah, of course. I'm always picking up mail late at night.
And while he's doing this, the punks knock out the wonderful, I think she's like a public defender who just fell in love with Bronson's beautiful eyes. What do you think would be charming about Bronson? Other than, unless you have a particular fetish for the way that he looks like.
Well, I mean, what would be charming about Charlie Bronson?
At that particular age.
I mean, I guess maybe you could dress him up kind of like a Christmas elf, and that could be funny.
Oh, I thought you meant like, like a large baby with like a lolly and stuff like that, and big hat, furls, giant lolly.
That would be good as well. Let's be honest.
Would that be charming, though?
Charming? No.
He's like, oh no, I don't know what the definition of charming is.
Yeah.
I hope I can bullshit my way out of this. She gets knocked out, and I was like, oh, well, at least they won't kill her. And because they just push her car into oncoming traffic, crashes, and I'm like, oh, she's probably okay, yeah.
It's a movie car, though.
Yeah, and then it explodes.
Both cars explode. Yeah. Very violently.
Is Charlie Bronson shook up by this?
He is, and he walks away sadly.
I would say shook up is an exaggeration. He's just like, meh, I went on 2 dates with this person.
Yeah, I went on 2 dates, yeah.
So after this is when he finally picks up his gun and does bad stuff, right?
Well, no, because he instead gets arrested again, I think, and the only way that he gets out to start creating massive havoc is by Edward...
Ernie Borgten?
Ernest Borgten gets him to come to the hospital, I guess because they're like, yeah, well, you go and see your friend in the hospital, you obviously won't escape, allowing him time to escape to then get the gun that for some reason Ernie Borgten was not able to use, which is a big kind of like a World War II like
machine gun.
Machine gun,
not
basically.
Ones that are supposed to be handheld. You're supposed to put it on a turret.
Well, even if you held it, you would hold it from the back. You would not hold the blazing hot like
barrel
of the gun. Like, that's just how hard Charles Bronson is. He can hold the barrel of that gun.
Like, oh!
And feel nothing. And he's like, yeah, I'm old. I can't feel anything in my hand anyway.
Well, that's the first Bronson imitation of this podcast.
Yeah.
How did we get this far without doing it?
Because we were too shy to do it.
Yeah, that's what we were. We were too shy.
We
didn't want anyone to make fun of us. So we just played it, tippy-toe-wise.
To be very straight.
Now, finally... Charles Bronson, well, he goes to prison, he gets back out, doesn't really matter, it just exists. The film lasts exactly 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Michael Winner's like, I'm gonna hit that 90 no matter what.
But look, let's face facts, right? More directors should be like that these days.
I mean, I'm a fan of 75 minutes, if I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, absolutely 90 is the absolute max you should be getting away with, right? Like
the film is just cut off when 90s hit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that should just happen on Netflix. At 90, it should immediately say, are you still watching this? Because instead what Netflix does already, which is like, yeah, just do whatever. Just keep filming. Just keep shooting more and more and more.
Awful. Netflix, like, Mr. Netflix, like, leaning back in his chair and like, we have the new movie. He's like, oh, yeah, just put it on the system. Don't you want to watch it? Who cares?
Yeah,
if it's good, bad. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Netflix is kind of like a weird cult. You've read those articles, right, that came out where they were like, the reason that we want to keep shows, because it doesn't matter viewership, because they don't share it with anybody, right, is, would I fight for this show? And if I say I wouldn't, then it's going to get canceled. But that recently changed because they only do 1 or 2 seasons of things, maximum 3, because they'd rather just put something new out that people watch.
Well, because they realize that, well, it's like any sequel, right? Mm-hmm. You are limited to the amount of people who already watch.
Because they have to watch a previous one. And that's why they name series with a subtitle now. So if you're confused and you watch a couple episodes of the second season, you're like, I gotta go back to the first one and watch it. I'm already committed.
But let's be honest, much like movies, how many seasons does a show actually need? 2 or 3, we're good.
I mean, that's the UK way, right?
Yeah.
3, and you're pushing it.
I just listened to, actually, the reunion of the people who made the Day-to-Day. It was, there's a BBC podcast where they just happened to talk about it. And I was, shocked to remember that there's only 1 6-episode season of the Day-to-Day and 1 6-episode season of of Brass Eye.
Oh, I love Brass Eye. Oh, wait, it's the same people who did
Same
both
people.
Yeah.
So technically they did 2 seasons, but kind of different styles.
Everybody keeps talking about it, though.
Thing is, they did 12 episodes in one special, and to go back, like, every single part of that is the funniest shit ever.
But I think the issue with that is that people like multiple seasons because it keeps many people employed. And if you're in Britain, you're forced to go on all those quiz shows to pay the rent and to pay for the food in your family's mouth.
I suppose that's true because, like, there's, like, so many seasons of Taskmaster, and that is one of the greatest things ever, and I would watch that. And if that ever cancelled, that'd be so sad.
I don't know what Taskmaster is.
Taskmaster's an amazing show. Oh my god, we're so tangenty. This isn't even like a ref. This is just us talking about interesting stuff. Taskmaster's a show where they have comedians on, and they make them, like, do tasks. So they'll be like, hide this watermelon on your body. And then they get judged on whoever did it best, right? So it's like you could eat the watermelon, or you could smash the watermelon up and put it in your socks.
Well, it's like Richard, I can't say his last name, Ayoade, who's cursed to wander the earth, going from country to country, making very sly, deadpan jokes for the rest of his life.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not so bad, right?
They're like, you got one season of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and that other one where you were with Dean Lerner.
And Submarine's really good.
Yeah, but he only got those 2 movies, Submarine and The Double. They're like, that's it. You're going off to the, just wander the earth.
Yeah, the comedian's home in the sky.
They're gonna kill him?
They'll eventually kill him.
Or they just, like, they're in the air in an airplane constantly. Yeah. You can't set your feet on the ground.
It's like the plane in Fast and Furious 8.
Yes, with Charlize Theron.
She's constantly flying around.
Classic. Oh, can you imagine if Richard was the villain in a Fast and the Furious movie?
That would be the greatest thing of all time. You better fucking Charlize Theron.
Yeah. She sucks in those films.
As pointed out, in the most recent Fast and Furious, where does she go to the bathroom in that box? There's no toilet in there.
She doesn't poop. She had it sewed up, surgically sealed. It's in one of the deleted scenes. Watch the director's cut. So where were we in Death Wish 3?
Okay, so basically the thing is you can't really describe the movie past this point because all he does is walk around killing guys with a machine gun.
Oh, so many guys.
Till the machine gun runs out of bullets, and then he starts using the other gun, and then that gun runs out of bullets. And in the meantime, we're seeing other people in the neighborhood, like, I guess, gain strength from what was total anarchy, and they start to kill dudes as well. Mm-hmm. And basically, this is a movie where you understand why, after watching it, people went out and did crimes, right? Because it basically says, take your place back from these villains, just kill people, doesn't matter. Like, it is all of the death wishes, absolutely the most, like, just go
bloodthirsty.
Go out and start killing people.
Well, the first one, people like really struggle to make an argument because the book it's based on is all about like nonviolence and how it doesn't actually achieve anything. By the third one, they're like, nah, vigilante justice, it works.
To what extent it works, we never get to see the results of that. I mean,
you mean maybe perhaps he's creating a power vacuum that will then never be able to just be filled by a worse thing that has to come in?
Almost definitely. You know, it's like the rats kill the bears and then the bears kill,
and that's the secret. When winter comes, the gorillas freeze to death.
Yeah, and here's the thing: no gorillas are going to freeze to death. This is not how it works, right?
No,
like what I hoped.
Oh my god, my whole life's a lie.
It was amazing at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. Charles Bronson turned to like Ed Asner, whatever his name is, and being like, now finally we can create all those programs for the youth here in this community and make a community center and all this stuff. Basketball courts could go over there. He doesn't say any of those things.
No, he just leaves. He's like, I'm done. I've killed everyone, including Alex Winter, who dies an inglorious death.
Yeah, he just falls off a roof after being shot. The actual climax of the movie is...
We somehow made it through the entire synopsis of this film without even talking about the main villain. Played by Gavin O'Hurley High, and his name is Fraker.
Because he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything.
He just sort of looks evil and has the middle of his hair shaved so he can
cool look.
Paint a sweet line down it.
Feel like I want to do it. Makes you go faster. Speed lines.
Yeah, he's got a speed line on his head. There's a weird bit though, which I thought was gonna spin it in something else, where he normally tells you like, I'm gonna get you because I hate you, Charles Bronson. But then when he's on the phone, he's like, hey, listen, hello, could you get some more guys down, please? Because Charles Bronson's killing a lot of my guys.
You thought that it would be like a bigger thing, like that there would be a reveal of, it's actually the police are putting this to like, continue funding
or
them.
Like he was like a rich kid or something, and he was just playing around and blah, blah, blah. Like at the end, like I always love at the end of the movie when like the baddie's like, I'm actually not cool, man. Have this money because I'm actually secretly rich, and if you kill me, then like the people in Martha's Vineyard will come and get you because blah blah blah.
I love that. That's
money,
the best.
Money makes the world come around. And
he says it at the beginning too, right? Where he's like, I got a lawyer. It seems like they're setting that up,
but they don't ever do anything with it. Instead, what they do is he jumps in the window to kill Charles Bronson, who is busy trying to load a gun. He's got real old man stuff going on here. Where he's like, I did just try to get some bullets out. Oh, I've dropped them, and he goes kills him. But then It's not Ed Asner. Who is it? Who's the other guy?
Ed
Lautner?
Ed Lautner, yeah.
Ed Lautner?
I wish it was Ed Asner.
Ed Asner would be much funnier.
Yeah, he's like, I masturbate too! Also, 9/11 was an inside job. Did you know that Ed Asner is on that train?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, my God. Yeah, that's how I wanted this
Listen,
movie.
he knows. He went up.
I wanted this movie to end with Ed Asner, Charles Bronson, and Ernest Borgnine just jacking off in a room together.
Oh my God. That's a loose cannon's magic, Matthew. If people want more of that, listen every episode. It's got a little bit of that.
Well, because people are going to, like, see when they hear this podcast, they're going to start calling in and demanding this become a whole, like, Intercredit. It's the other podcast I do.
How dare you advertise the other podcast you do on this?
It's because Important Cinema Club both begin with I, so it's like I keep going to say Intercredit. Important Cinema Club presents Loose Cannons. It becomes sort of like an occasional thing that happens.
Yes, okay.
People will be so excited.
That's what I'm going to write. That'll be the name. Important Cinema Club presents Loose Cannons, Death Wish 3. You know, the longer the name is, the more regalness it has.
Because then when people look at it on their podcast app on their phone, they just see, you know, Important Cinema Club presents, and they're like, oh, it must be good.
Yeah, it cuts off the rest.
It cuts off the rest. He comes in and he goes to shoot Charles Bronson, but Ed Lautner shoots him instead, and then Charles Bronson shoots him and he's like, doesn't matter, man, because I'm wearing a bulletproof vest just like you are. So what does Charles Bronson do? We should have set this up earlier, like the film does, but we didn't. He turns around with a rocket launcher, shoots a rocket at him, which explodes him.
But, okay, disappointment from me and Matthew here, which is you don't see the body explode. Like, that happens in Invasion USA, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think in Invasion USA, the rocket hits it and he flies and he explodes, right? Almost a bit like in Hard Ticket Hawaii, they do the same sort of thing. What you want to see is this guy, like...
Or Broken Arrow. Classic being shot. Oh, or am I thinking of The Rock? There's a lot of people being hit by missiles.
You want the shot, you know, the famous shot where you see them from the viewpoint of the missile flying back, being like, oh! And then exploding, and then cuts away from an explosion.
What if he fired it? It went through his body, exploded, the guy's still standing there, there's a hole. Charlie Bronson then takes out his big cannon and shoots him in the head.
The best thing that happened would obviously be the missile shoots straight through the guy and then, like, I don't know, blows up a dog or something like that.
No, it blows up, like, somebody bad, not just a dog.
No, she blew up somebody good.
Like a bad dog.
Yeah, a dog that's
There's
like...
no such thing as a bad dog, Matthew.
What we want, obviously, is the end for Charles Bronson to realise that vigilantism... It's not the solution, you know.
That's not going to happen in this movie. Oh, so because a good dog gets